welcome back underwater, everybody. And welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. This is not my typical episode. I wasn't filming like I normally would on this day, like a catch, clean, cook or anything, but we were just out doing some diving and it was just too nice, so I figured I'd throw my camera on for a few dives and not crazy action packed, but I did shoot a few fish and I figured maybe someone could get some joy from this. So I figured it'd be worth sharing. So for the most part, I'll just kind of let you enjoy the raw dives and the scenery, and I'll talk through a couple scenarios. So there's a couple scenarios in this, well not scenarios, there's one scenario, a couple points I want to make in this clip. I'll start by saying one of the most common mistakes I see beginners make with a piece of equipment is their weight belts. They'll often take the tag of their weight belt and wrap it around itself or tuck it inside the belt a couple times and kind of pull it tight. That tag is a safety release. If you were to get in trouble, get wrapped on the bottom, all you do is pull that tag and the weight belt releases. It comes off of you. So do not tuck those tags. Don't wrap them around themselves and tie them in a knot. You want that tag. It is a safety release. Top of the screen, you see a black grouper here. I drop down. Don't really have the shot I like, but the fish is being mellow, so I kind of just sit there and wait and see what it's going to do. Tuck up under the ledge. It's sitting there. I can see its face enough to put a shot in it and take a shot, and the fish, rightfully so, freaks out and tries to shoot back into the hole. And in the process, that fish going crazy, it pulled my gun towards me and created some slack in my line, and it pretty much lassoed my weight belt around my knife sheath. So in this scenario, if you're running out of air, all you have to do is pull that tag on your weight belt and you're free. You never know when this could happen. I just felt like a regular dive for me, and I could have been in a really bad situation. Something else that I do that I don't think I've mentioned before is I never push my dives past maybe 60-70% of my maximum. You never know when you're going to need that little extra time on the bottom. Luckily, I wasn't even close to my maximum dive here, so I'm able to take a metaphorical breath, just relax, assess the situation. I've got a fish on one side, gun on the other, I'm wrapped. So I luckily had enough time, because I didn't push my dive, I had enough time to untangle this line, get my knife out, and just free myself from the situation. That could have been a really bad situation if I hadn't been really low on air. So luckily, all worked out, lived to dive another day. But you really never know what can happen in just the blink of an eye. So all that commotion actually brought a few more groupers in. They were being surprisingly docile. Typically the black groupers are the ones that'll spook and like to hide, and all that commotion just had them curious, and I'm a fraction of a second away from pulling the trigger, and it just twitches just enough that I don't like it. And it's kind of that fade away shot, and then it got to a point where I was like, if it goes into the cave, I'm going to have a harder time finding it, so I let it fly, and luckily hit its mark there. A little bit of luck involved. This is something I actually do that I caught a bit of slack for. Probably not a great idea if you're a beginner. I actually load the gun sometimes with the fish on it just to start my breathe up and start relaxing, because loading the gun kind of uses a bit of energy. But I never put my hand or anything in front of the gun. First off, I've never had a quality gun in my entire life misfire, but I've had some really low quality guns. The trigger mechs have failed, but not to say it couldn't happen, but if it were, I never, while I'm removing this fish, I never put anything in front of the spear. So maybe not a great idea if you're a beginner, but it's just something I do. Use your own discretion. one of the guys I was with actually shot a grouper and it ran up in this hole and tore out, and we couldn't locate it. I looked for a while and could not find it, and it seems that it just disappeared. It was actually a nice red grouper in here that was just being nosy. I don't shoot the reds a lot, to be honest. I think mainly around Key West, I think the population of the reds need a little help. They're one of the more aggressive groupers, so if you're fishing, they're always the first one to eat. And spearfishing, they kind of just sit there and look at you. If you go quite a bit ways from Key West, you start to see more, but truthfully, I think I see probably 5 legal black groupers for every 1 legal red I see. We decided to head out a little deeper, see if we could find some bigger fish. The water was nice and clean. I think the bottom was like 70, maybe 70, 75 here. About 30 feet off the bottom, I typically pull my head and I'll start to scan and kind of see which direction I need to be going. There just wasn't a whole lot going on this day at this spot. Got the jets flying over my house right now. Kind of on my way up, I see one grouper come skirting in just towards the end of my dive, kind of deep, kind of far, just not really worth it. But that is all I have on this one. Like I said, a little different style episode, some raw footage. Hopefully someone, at least one person, enjoyed it and it wasn't a waste of time. As always, any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you on the next one. Later.